Hello everybody, welcome to the UK Investment Seminar. Today we're going to give you an overview of the UK property market, and we're going to focus on Beech Holdings' track record over the last 20 years. My name is Stephen Beech, I'm the CEO of Beech Holdings. I formed the company over 20 years ago. I'm going to share some of my own experience as well. We're also going to introduce my colleague, Elliot, who has a wealth of knowledge in the UK and international property market, again over the last 20 years. I'm going to welcome Elliot very shortly. Okay, so we're going to Beech Holdings. This is some of the fantastic team here that I've built up over the last 20 years. We'll delve into some of our own experience, a few of the mistakes we've made over the years, and how the focus, how we've become so successful and the #1 residential developer in Manchester. Okay. As a quick overview, just look at some headline numbers. We've developed over 1,000 properties. Our lettings platform, Manchester Apartments, we'll talk about shortly, get 3,000 inquiries for products every single month. We've got 97% occupants, a real industry-leading figure there. We'll focus on more in the presentation. And we have £300 million worth of GDV in our own pipeline to date. So to help understand Beech Holdings today, it's important to look back. We had a very limited resource at the time, so I was looking for an area that's going to experience high capital appreciation as well as very strong yields. And my focus was always to tie the two together, and that is really a very powerful tool if you can get high capital appreciation and high yield. So this is actually my first property that I did up with my own hands. We got feedback from the tenants because it wasn't for myself, friends or family. It's very much focused on student tenants at the time, and we delivered a very high quality product that was rented before completion. And we followed that quality method day in, day out for the next 20 years. So let's fast forward from 2001, it was the smallest residential landlord, to 2011. Only 10 years later, I was the biggest student landlord in Manchester. We're very proud of. We delivered 450 bedrooms, over about 100 properties, and we still own and operate those properties today. In 2001 was a real highlight. We actually got a letter from Prince Charles. A lot of our work is focused on sustainability, and Prince Charles himself recognised that and wrote us a letter which we're very appreciative of. In 2014 we took a new direction away from students and onto young professionals. The feedback we were getting, the qualified architects and lawyers and accountants were all now obviously qualified and staying in Manchester, and there was a huge target market for 21, 25-year-old properties that were fresh out of university that wanted to stay in Manchester. So this is a new direction we took in 2014, and this is our first purchase in the city centre of Manchester. It was actually on Princes Street. It was an area that was a little bit unloved, a little bit unpolished, but again was going to experience huge capital appreciation. At this part of the journey, we actually invited some co-investors to come along and join on our next part of our growth strategy, which they came on board, and really happy that we delivered that property together, and a lot of them are still involved today and continue to invest alongside us. A real highlight of Beech Holdings' history is when the Prime Minister himself commentated on the quality of our products and the achievements we've done in Manchester and the properties themselves. Some of you may recognise Howard Bernstein. He's pretty much at the time the most powerful guy in the north of England. He very kindly came along and launched our new office right in the heart of Manchester city centre. You can see the Manchester Apartments sign in the background. That's our lettings arm of our business. And then just to finish off, take us to the end of the timeline, between 2018 and 21, the highlight of this period was when Ancoats Holdings came and invested in the business. Who are Ancoats Holdings? They're one of the biggest family offices in Saudi Arabia. They hold investments all around the world, and it was a real honour to get an approach by them that they wanted to invest in the business, and that will secure delivering our pipeline in the years to come. So very happy to have Ancoats Holdings as part of the business. Okay, so I've talked about the quality. I want to really just look at a typical quality apartment in Manchester. Don't worry, this isn't ours, it looks okay, but when you really compare it to the Beech product, this is obviously a living room, and you can see one of our living rooms. It's about quality. It's a completely different level than the average apartment in Manchester. So that is obviously a living room. If you look at the kitchen area, again, the competition versus Beech. We have quartz, Antico, really high quality fixtures and fittings. You can see why our occupancies are so high. Look at a typical bedroom, you won't see that on Rightmove, you know, day in, day out. If you actually look at a Beech bedroom, you can see it's a whole different level in it. Now you can understand really why we are so popular on the rental side of the business. Okay, so that's a quick overview, and that's who Beech Holdings are. 20-year track record, and as I say, delivered 1,000 properties to date in Manchester. We have all the services under one roof, which we'll delve into very shortly. Everything is operated from HQ here on Oxford Street in Manchester. So the model, as I said, is really in-house. We have from the architects, in-house development team, to the sales and after-sales department. That's very important to keep investors up to date of how their product is performing. And probably one of the most important departments is the lettings and management department. These are the guys that make sure we've got really high occupancy rates, and the services provided by the maintenance team are that you'd expect to see in a 5-star hotel. Okay, so that's I've showed you some pictures. Let's actually go into a video and really focus in on the quality of our product. So this is a typical apartment block of ours. This is actually in Basil House on our website that you can see. So we're just going to go around a studio 1-bedroom apartment, pretty typical of the quality that Beech delivers to the market. So just have a look at the kitchen there. We're just going past the Bosch appliances. We have quartz worktops. You can see the fixtures and fittings are a completely different level to what you'd normally expect on the market. Again, this is what makes the product so popular. And you notice things like there's no carpets or fabrics in the building. Operational cost is very, very key. There's no point getting a lot of rent and then paying a lot out in maintenance and refurbishments, etc. So quality and long-lasting products are very, very important to Beech. This is a typical wardrobe, walk-in wardrobe in this case. Again, the quality is there, making these apartments very, very attractive to the rental market. So that was really a tour. I'll just go into the bathroom. You can see again the quality, how striking those bathrooms are, more similar to like a 5-star hotel you'd expect to find. So that's a quick overview of one of our properties. So 2001, typical bedroom in Rusholme to the ones today. Again, quality at the start and quality at the end. We've never lost that quality. So a couple of test cases. 90 Princess Street, I mentioned that earlier. The reason I wanted to talk about this one, we did 35 apartments in 90 Princess Street, and each and every investor that co-invested alongside myself, we keep some apartments for ourselves always, experienced 35% capital appreciation. Really, really proud of that fact. Basil House that we just went in there, we developed it, 100% occupancy pretty much day one, and we sold that on to an international investor that has retained our management services, so we still operate that building today. Talk about West Point very briefly. This was actually 317 apartments that were delivered. So we talk about West Point because of the really sheer scale of that development, and to have each and every apartment rented from day one was a very big achievement of Manchester Apartments, the lettings arm of the business. That is the key. If you ever invest, there's no point investing from a developer that doesn't have a lettings or management arm. You need it all under one roof. That's a real big takeaway. Academy Apartments is one of our most recent ones. 90 low carbon 1 and 2 bed studio and 1-bedroom apartments. We actually partnered up with UA92, a new university in Manchester. These are some of UA92's partners. You might recognise Microsoft and KPMGs of this world. And one of the partners of UA92 is created by, some of you may know, Gary Neville of Manchester United. So he really started that university, and he actually looked round Academy Apartments. So he's got a few words what he said after his visit.
But one of the main things obviously is the quality and security of student accommodation. We've got fantastic accommodation here at Academy Apartments. They really are apartments that you could live in, not just actually as a student, but beyond that as well in terms of in your life. In fact, I'll be very comfortable in here overlooking Old Trafford and so close to where obviously you are taught over at UA92. It's absolutely fantastic. The security is good, which I think is really important, particularly if you've got parents that are bringing their young children, the sort of that big moment in their life where they're handing them over, if you like, to someone else, and it's that big jump. But I would feel really comfortable sort of sending my children here.
So some really powerful words from Gary. Really excited. The whole team was really excited to show him around. So we're coming to the end of my presentation. As a final overview, it's really key is delivery, and these are some of the other buildings we've developed over the last 20 years. And the key is delivery. Key is capital appreciation, high occupancies and very, very strong yields, which was achieved on all these buildings. Okay, at this point I'm going to hand over to Elliot, my colleague. He's going to give you a UK overview with a focus on Manchester, which might explain why I and my investors continue to invest in Manchester. So at this point, I'll thank you for your time and I welcome Elliot to give the UK overview. Thank you.
Thanks, Stephen. So my name's Elliot Vior and I'm the Sales Director of Beech Holdings. Now today we're going to look at the UK property market overall and identify some key areas where you can make the most money from your investment. So looking at the UK market, investors from all over the world have often favoured the UK because of the security and the stability that it offers investors. Just some numbers for you to consider. The strength of the UK property market has always been dominated by the imbalance between supply and demand. So the UK needs about 250,000 new properties built each year just to keep up with the demand. And at the moment, there's only 170,000 properties being actually delivered each and every single year. That's a shortfall of 80,000 properties onto the market every single year. That's really driving the strength of the investment into the UK property market. Now, a good investment always goes further than just the city in which you're investing. You need to be looking out for some key things, some key targets within any city where you're considering an investment. It's important to consider a city or an area where the population outweighs the supply of housing available in the market. You want to be looking for potential future capital appreciation. Are there improvements being made to the infrastructure, to the rail network, to the connectivity? All of these things are really important to look out for. A young population is also really important. It's young people who are likely going to be your tenants, the people living in your property. So an area where there is a high amount of students or young professionals is key. Also look out for the migration of big business. Are big corporate blue chip companies moving into the surrounding area? Are they opening offices in the region? That's going to be really important. And also look for areas where there's previous institutional investments. Are big pension funds, are family offices, are wealthy corporations investing into the surrounding area? If they're investing into these areas, then it's probably a good indication that you as an individual investor should also be looking at this area. So let's look at the City of London, somewhere where I'm sure you're all very familiar with, in comparison to a city like Manchester, just to show the level of difference between investing in these two cities. So in London, the average property price is, well over £600,000. When you factor in stamp duty costs at just under £30,000, you're coming out with an average potential rental yield of around 2.9%. Now compare that to a city like Manchester, where the average property price is £220,000, significantly cheaper. That also reduces your stamp duty liability to just over £6,000, giving an average rental yield of 5 to 6%, a significantly stronger return than had you invested your capital into a city like London. Now, in recent years, the UK has seen huge growth in regional cities, so in other cities around the UK outside of London. Manchester, average yields, as we showed, about 5%. Comparing that to some southern cities like Cambridge, Oxford and Brighton, where the average yields hover between 3 to 4%. It shows that regional cities in the north of the UK do offer some better investment potential. So as we've identified, Manchester is one of the key regional cities in the UK where the best returns are possible. So why should you be looking at Manchester as the key regional city in which to make your investments? Well, some data by people like JLL and Savills shows that over the next 5 years, house price growth in Manchester is forecast to be anywhere between 17 to 20%. Rental growth across the same period, 16.5%. Now, at present, the population of Manchester is approximately 2.75 million. Now, by 2035, that's forecast to grow to over 3 million, a huge growth in a relatively short amount of time. Now, Manchester Airport is one of the key regional airports across the UK. It's actually arguably the largest airport in the UK outside of London. Now, at present, it connects to over almost 200 destinations across the world. The airport at the present is currently being redeveloped, and there's over £1 billion being spent to really transform that airport. Importantly, I think it's the introduction of and the arrival of HS2, the high-speed rail link between London and Manchester, that's going to reduce travel times between the two cities to just over 1 hour. People could quite conceivably commute between London and Manchester in just over an hour. It takes me well over an hour to get into Manchester some days from where I live, so the HS2 is going to be revolutionary. And the development and the implementation of HS2 alone is going to create over 90,000 jobs to the city of Manchester and the surrounding areas, so huge benefits to the city of Manchester. So looking at the migration of big businesses and all of the key people who are moving to the city of Manchester, I'm sure you recognise many of these companies here: BT, Amazon, KPMG. 80 of the FTSE 100 companies all have representation in the city of Manchester. Importantly, London is losing 88 young professionals each day to regional cities like Manchester. Commercial space is approximately 40% cheaper in the city of Manchester than it is in London. Last year alone, over 800,000 square foot of office space was actually rented and tenanted across the city. And the BBC recently announced there's going to be 22,000 new jobs moving from London to an area in Manchester called Media City. It's important to look at the demographics and the people who make up the city of Manchester. So it has one of the youngest populations in the UK, with the average age of 33 compared to the national average of 40. So a huge young rental market, people who are going to be living in those properties. Now, of those young people, it's actually not until they're going to be over the age of 40 where they're expected to own their first property, and 35% of 25 to 40-year-olds never actually want to buy their own home. So Manchester has a huge amount of young renters living in the city. Now, importantly, there's a huge student population in the city of Manchester, over 100,000 students, and incredibly 60% of those students, once they've graduated, they actually stay in the city of Manchester and continue to rent properties. So let's look at the growth of the population of Manchester, one of the key drivers that's going to be resulting in the success of an investment in the city. So at present, over 2.75 million people living in the city. Now, over the last 10 years, the population of Manchester has grown by 19%, more than any other regional city across the UK. And importantly, by 2035, the population of Manchester is forecast to grow to over 3 million people living within the city. So just to keep up with that level of demand, 11,000 new homes need to be built every single year. And at present, there's only 7,000 homes actually being delivered to the market. So that's a shortfall of 4,000 homes per year. And if this level of supply and demand imbalance continues, by 2035 there's going to be a shortfall of 60,000 homes on the market. That just goes to show how much of an imbalance there is between the amount of demand and the supply and demand coming onto the market. So now I'm delighted to introduce you to Ancoats Gardens, our most exciting development to date. It's recently just topped out and the building has reached full height. We've still got some fantastic apartments available for sale, so I'm going to go through the development with you now and highlight some of the key features of the development itself. So Ancoats Gardens, it contains 155 luxury 1, 2 and 3 bedroom apartments located in the Ancoats district of Manchester, one of Manchester's coolest districts, very comparable to, say, Shoreditch in London. A lot of high-end eateries, high-end bars and restaurants, and some independent shops and coffee shops along the way. It's designed to target the young, modern professional tenant market. It's got them in mind, and some of the features and the design of the building is really going to appeal to that demographic. So as you can see, the bedrooms here in Ancoats Gardens finished to the highest level of quality and attention to detail that's become the trademark of Beech Holdings. The Antico flooring, the exposed concrete finishes and the floor-to-ceiling windows are really going to attract that young tenant demographic. Some incredible facilities and open areas for the tenants. The concierge is going to be based on the building itself. If you need to get your laundry done or you need someone to collect your mail, the staff there in the building will certainly be able to help. One of the key features, and in my opinion, the best feature of the building itself is that split level 2-story gymnasium. It's going to be fully equipped, all the equipment there for the tenants. They're really going to enjoy working out in the gym and the fitness centre in the building. Again, some of that open co-working space. You can hold a meeting or invite your colleagues or your business partners downstairs to the lobby. You'll be able to hold any meetings that you might have down in that area. Now, what really makes Ancoats Gardens stand out from the rest of the developments in the surrounding area, it is those 2 outdoor rooftop gardens. You could really enjoy a glass of wine or a takeaway or a coffee, invite some friends around, really utilise that space with some incredible views across the city centre of Manchester. Now, it is the location of Ancoats Gardens that really stands out, as I said, as well as being a really kind of trendy, hip area. The transport times to the surrounding key parts of the city. So Noma, Manchester's leading media and tech hub, home to Amazon, I'm sure who you've heard of. It's only a couple of minutes walk away. Selfridges and Harvey Nichols, less than 10 minutes walk away. Piccadilly train station, if you need to get to London or other parts of the UK, it's only an 8 to 12 minute walk away. Spinningfields, 15-minute walk away, and Deansgate, Manchester's premier shopping street, is a short 10 to 15-minute walk away. So here's the city centre of Manchester and Ancoats Gardens right here. You can see Noma, as I mentioned, the commercial district where Amazon office is located right here. The northern quarter and the central retail district, all within a very, very short minute walk, and the Ancoats area here, where you're going to find all the independent restaurants, shops and coffee bars. So the market opportunity that Ancoats Gardens presents, there's a huge undersupply of rental accommodation in the city of Manchester, and 155 apartments is going to come nowhere near to the shortfall of 4,000 properties a year that need to be developed. Manchester and Ancoats has a very young population, people who are working in Noma and working in Amazon. That's the key demographic. Very close by to world-class universities such as the University of Manchester, who are really going to be one of the key drivers of the tenant market into the building itself. Once those students become graduates, at that point they'll really want to live in Ancoats Gardens. They're willing to pay a premium to be in the best residential development the city has to offer. So let's look at an investment into Ancoats Gardens and some numbers that surround that. So with prices starting from just under £250,000 with a projected 7% rental yield each year, along with 3% capital appreciation. This development, if you want to really drive those yields, you can look to finance that with a mortgage. And that development completes Q2 2022, so just over a year from now. We're looking at a 2-bedroom apartment in Ancoats Gardens, priced at £330,000. After 5 years of holding that investment, you can look at a conservative return on investment of around £137,000. We fully expect, though, after 5 years, if you couple together capital appreciation and rental yield, you can be making anywhere up to £175,000. Or in a buoyant market, that could even creep up to £215,000 after holding that property for 5 years. Now, that development is fully managed in-house by Manchester Apartments, who are the only management company in the city of Manchester who are going to start renting that property up to a year in advance of it completing. Now, Manchester Apartments, typically before completion, you'll have a tenant already in place. So from day one, as soon as that property is completed and tenanted and you receive the keys, there will already be a tenant in place waiting to move in. So you'll start earning income from day one. As soon as that property completes, that income will be that property will be income producing, as opposed to some of the other management companies in the city who will only start to rent that property once it's completed. It might then take them 3 to 6 months to actually find a tenant, so your void periods are going to be minimal by having Manchester Apartments actually renting that property on your behalf. So that's Ancoats Gardens. I hope you've enjoyed finding out more about Ancoats Gardens and Beech Holdings overall, and thank you very much.